On July 13, 2024, Donald Trump, a former president of the United States and the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party in the 2024 presidential election, survived an assassination attempt while addressing a crowd at a campaign rally near Butler, Pennsylvania. Trump was shot and wounded in his upper right ear by Thomas Matthew Crooks, a 20-year-old man from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Crooks fired 8 rounds from an AR-15 style rifle from the roof of a building 400 feet, 120 meters, to 450 feet, 140 meters, from the stage. Crooks also killed 1 audience member and critically injured 2 other audience members. He was subsequently shot and killed by the United States Secret Service's counter-sniper team. Video shows Trump clasping his ear and taking cover behind the lectern, where Secret Service agents shielded him until the shooter was killed. Photojournalist Evan Vucci of the Associated Press captured images of a bloodied Trump pumping his fist in the air and mouthing the word "fight." As agents escorted him off stage, the images went viral on social media. Trump was taken to a hospital, treated, and released in stable condition later that same day. He made his first public appearance after the shooting 2 days later at the 2024 Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, resigned after widespread criticism of security lapses at the rally and of her congressional testimony. President Joe Biden ordered an independent review of the security arrangements. Biden also condemned the violence and called for a reduction in heated political rhetoric, emphasizing the importance of resolving political differences peacefully. Misinformation, disinformation, and conspiracy theories quickly spread on social media after the shooting. Lawmakers called for increased security for the major candidates in the election. At the time of the incident, Donald Trump was the presumptive Republican nominee in the 2024 presidential election. The shooting occurred 2 days before the July 15 start of the 2024 Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A previous attempt at violence toward Trump during one of his rallies happened in 2016, when a man attempted to grab a security officer's gun at a rally outside of Las Vegas. On July 3, 2024, it was announced that Trump would hold a rally on July 13 at the Butler Farm Showgrounds in Connoquenessing Township and Meridian, near Butler, Pennsylvania. On July 10, an advance team began setting up for the rally, including the installation of generators in a large open field. The rally was part of the Trump campaign's attempts to garner votes in Pennsylvania, which some polling indicates is a swing state. The state has 19 votes in the Electoral College. David McCormick, the Republican nominee in the state's concurrent U.S. Senate election, was invited to appear on stage during the rally to increase support for his campaign. U.S. Representative Mike Kelly said he had contacted the Trump campaign to recommend holding the rally in an area that could handle a larger crowd than the Butler Farm Showgrounds, and that their response was, "We appreciate your input, but we've already made up our minds." Attendees at Trump rallies are screened for prohibited items, including weapons. The Secret Service routinely screens and monitors nearby buildings and businesses, including structures outside security perimeters. The event had security laid up into one outer area, patrolled by state police, and an inner perimeter, holding Secret Service agents. Also, 4 separate counter-sniper teams were assigned to the event, 2 from the Secret Service and 2 from local law enforcement. The Pennsylvania State Police, which serves as the law enforcement agency for Connoquenessing Township, were also involved in security matters. Butler Township Police were given traffic duties. The Federal Bureau of Investigation had no information about any particular threats before the event. The Secret Service had increased Trump's security detail in earlier weeks because of intelligence indicating that Iran was plotting to assassinate Trump, leading the Secret Service to boost security measures before the incident. The acting Iranian Minister of Foreign Affairs denied this claim. On July 7, 2024, Thomas Matthew Crooks visited the Butler Farm Showgrounds, the site of a future campaign rally announced by Trump 4 days earlier. He spent 20 minutes there and registered to attend the rally. On July 12, Crooks went to a shooting range and practiced with his rifle, A DPMS Panther Arms produced AR-15 style rifle with a 16-inch, 41 cm barrel, chambered in 5.56 x 45 mm NATO, that he had bought from his father. On July 13, the day of the assassination attempt, Crooks bought a 5-foot, 1.5 meter, ladder before driving to the site of the rally in the morning. According to ABC, a team of Beaver County SWAT officers, tasked with supporting the Secret Service, had taken their positions at the security perimeter by mid-morning. Crooks left the rally site and bought 50 rounds of ammunition from a gun store, before driving back to the rally at 3:35 p.m. EDT, armed with his rifle and with an explosive device in the trunk of his car. Crooks did not undergo security screening, as he had been outside the Secret Service's security perimeter for the rally. Around 3:50 p.m., Crooks flew a drone for about 11 minutes, showing the scene behind his eventual firing position. At 4:26 p.m., a local law enforcement counter-sniper ended his shift and spotted Crooks around the southernmost AGR International warehouse, where police counter-snipers were positioned. The counter-sniper text-messaged his colleagues about Crooks, noting that he may know about the police presence inside the building. The New York Times retrospectively described the text messages as suggesting that Crooks aroused police suspicion more than 90 minutes before the shooting. At 5:14 p.m., one of the counter-snipers still in the building saw Crooks directly underneath the warehouse and photographed him. The counter-sniper saw him scoping out the rooftop of the building and carrying a golf rangefinder, which particularly alarmed officers. The counter-sniper text-messaged images of Crooks to other members of law enforcement before heading outside to find him and keep visual contact while backup arrived. Crooks ran from his position and evaded a search joined by 4 other local police officers. Law enforcement officers spotted Crooks between 20 minutes and 30 minutes before the shooting. Multiple local law enforcement officers identified Crooks and believed that he might have been acting suspiciously near the event's magnetometers. They expressed their suspicions over the radio, and their radio communications were available to the Secret Service. The slant of the roof that Crooks had been on may have kept Secret Service snipers from seeing him as he crawled into a firing position. The northern sniper team's view of Crooks's position had also been blocked by trees. Using a 3-dimensional simulation of the shooting, the New York Times reported that the gunman was largely concealed by 2 trees and the slope of a warehouse building roof, which he used as his perch. Trump arrived on stage at about 6:03 p.m. At 6:05 p.m., he began speaking. At 6:06 p.m., Crooks took position on the roof of the southernmost warehouse of the AGR International Complex, between 400 feet, 120 meters, and 450 feet, 140 meters, north of the venue stage. He had not used a ladder but had walked across a series of interconnected roofs to reach his eventual firing position. The building housed 3 police snipers tasked with covering the rally, but, because of a shortage of personnel, not one of them was on the roof. Several bystanders witnessed a person on the roof carrying a rifle and alerted the police about him minutes before shots were fired at Trump. Hoisted by another officer, a Butler Township police officer attempted to climb to the roof of the building in search of the reported man. Crooks spotted the officer while the officer's hands were clinging to the edge of the roof and aimed his rifle at the officer, at which point the officer let go, falling 8 feet, 2.4 m, to the ground and severely injuring his ankle. Crooks undertook the shooting immediately after the confrontation with the officer. A few minutes into Trump's speech, at approximately 6:11 p.m., Crooks fired 8 shots into the rally, striking Trump and 3 rallygoers, 1 fatally, before being killed by a sniper from the Secret Service seconds later. As the shots were heard, rally attendees yelled "Duck." 2 shots were fired by law enforcement, one by a member of Butler County's Emergency Services Unit 6 seconds after Crooks fired his first shot, and another 10 seconds after that by a Secret Service counter-sniper. Trump was injured in his upper right ear by a strike from a bullet or bullet fragment. He raised a hand to his ear before dropping down on his podium behind the lectern for cover. Secret Service agents lunged toward Trump and shielded him. After the assailant was declared down, agents helped Trump get up. Blood was visible on his ear and face. He asked the Secret Service agents to let him get his shoes. According to Trump, the agents hit me so hard that my shoes fell off, and my shoes are tight. They also offered to put him on a stretcher, but he declined. As he was walked off stage, Trump told the Secret Service agents to wait and then raised his fist, pumped it at the crowd, and mouthed the words "Fight! Fight! Fight!" The crowd responded with cheers and chants of USA. When I rose surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead. And there was great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out, they thought it was over. But I could see it. I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting and started shouting, "Fight! Fight! Fight! Donald Trump!" Trump was then escorted to a vehicle and taken to the nearby Butler Memorial Hospital. Trump credited a large chart displaying immigration statistics with saving his life. Immediately before the first shot, he turned his head to his right, toward the chart, and pointed to it. The movement narrowed the profile of Trump's skull toward the direction of the shooter, possibly saving him from a direct gunshot wound to his skull. Trump later said, "If I hadn't pointed at that chart and turned my head to look at it, that bullet would have hit me right in the head." Corey Comparator of Sarver, Pennsylvania, was killed by gunfire. Comparator, aged 50, worked as a project and tooling engineer and was the former chief of the Buffalo Township Volunteer Fire Company. According to Comparator's family and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, he died while shielding his wife and 2 daughters from gunfire. In addition to Trump, a number of other people were injured. 2 other male audience members, aged 57 and 74, were shot and critically injured. Both were in stable condition on the next day. The 57-year-old victim was discharged from the hospital on July 24, the 74-year-old was discharged on July 26. U.S. Representative Ronnie Jackson stated that a bullet grazed his nephew's neck, which was treated by medical personnel at the scene. 4 Pittsburgh police officers, who were feet away from Trump, suffered minor injuries from flying debris when bullets struck objects nearby. On July 14, the FBI identified the shooter as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour's drive from the rally venue. Crooks was believed to have acted alone. The rifle Crooks used had been legally bought by his father in 2013, who sold it to Crooks in October 2023. He had no criminal record. The FBI said that there had been no indication of any mental health issues regarding Crooks. Crooks attended Bethel Park High School and graduated from Community College of Allegheny County 2 months before the shooting. He worked as a dietary aide in the kitchen of a nearby nursing home. Some people who knew him characterized him as quiet, and a former classmate said he had been bullied every day at school for wearing camouflage to class. Most neighbors also described Crooks as quiet and as a normal person. He was a member of the Clairton Sportsman's Club, which has a 200-yard, 180 rifle range. After the shooting, the FBI uncovered a social media account believed to be associated with the shooter with about 700 comments from 2019 to 2020. The content of the posts were described as anti-Semitic, anti-immigrant, extreme, and espousing political violence. His internet activity before the attack included searches related to the 2021 Oxford High School shooting and for other politicians and their events. He was a registered Republican. His voter registration had been active since September 2021, the month he turned 18. Federal campaign finance records show that on January 20, 2021, when he was 17, Crooks donated $15 to a voter turnout group, the Progressive Turnout Project, through a platform called Act Blue, which is used by Democrats and progressive organizations. Trump was transported to Butler Memorial Hospital for examination immediately after the shooting. A Secret Service spokesperson confirmed that he was safe. Trump's motorcade left the hospital at around 9:30 p.m. EDT bound for Pittsburgh International Airport. Trump landed in Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey in the early hours of July 14 and spent the night at Trump National Golf Club Bedminster. Security at Trump Tower and the RNC was strengthened after the shooting. No information about Trump's medical care was released during the week that followed the shooting. Representative Ronnie Jackson, Trump's former White House physician, released limited statements about Trump's injury and treatment on July 20 and 26. However, neither Trump's attending physician nor physicians at Butler Memorial Hospital made any statements, and some questions about Trump's diagnosis and treatment remained unanswered. Trump attended the Republican National Convention, RNC, on July 15 with a bandage covering his entire right ear. Several RNC attendees began wearing fake ear bandages during the convention, with a Republican strategist telling the Washington Post, "It was truly a surreal moment that people are still processing, and this is a recognizable show of solidarity in a memified political moment." The fad reportedly started with Arizona delegate Joe Neglia, with Neglia stating he made his bandage on the way to Milwaukee after seeing Trump wearing one during his first appearance after the attempt. The Trump campaign organized a GoFundMe fundraising campaign for the rally goers who were wounded or killed, raising over $2 million by July 14. Comparator's firefighting uniform, with his name misspelled by the fire department as Comparator, was brought on stage during Trump's speech at the RNC. Trump kissed Comparator's helmet. Comparator's funeral was held the next day on July 19. After the shooting, stocks linked to Trump's media and technology interests experienced a significant surge, as well as shares of other companies that could benefit from a Donald Trump presidency, such as cryptocurrency stocks and gun stocks. Trump Media and Technology Group shares soared 31%, lifting its stock market value to $7.7 billion, and major cryptocurrency-related stocks, including Coinbase and Bitcoin miners Riot Platforms and Marathon Digital, saw increases of 11% to 18%. Video sharing platform Rumble, known for its popularity among conservative viewers, saw its stock price jump 21%. These surges reflect increased investor confidence in Trump's chances of winning the upcoming U.S. presidential election. According to CNN, the exchange of public interventions in the aftermath of the event has been followed by tensions between local law enforcement officials and the Secret Service. The FBI is leading an investigation with the United States Department of Justice National Security Division, the U.S. Secret Service, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. The incident is being investigated as an assassination attempt, and also as an act of domestic terrorism. Police removed Crooks's corpse from the rooftop. He was carrying no identification. The FBI confirmed his identity via fingerprint biometrics and DNA profiling. Explosives were found at Crooks's home and in the car he used to travel to the rally. A remote transmitter was found in his pocket. Crooks owned 2 smartphones and at least 1 laptop. Soon after the shooting, FBI laboratory staff performed mobile device forensics on his smartphones, which entails defeating the device's security measures. This, according to an Electronic Frontier Foundation researcher, was probably done using a Celebrite device or an undisclosed in-house method. They found that Crooks had searched for images of Trump, Biden, and several other public figures, and that he had looked up dates of Trump's rallies and the Democratic National Convention. Investigators also found that in April 2024, he had made searches about major depressive disorder, although there has not been a determination about whether he was diagnosed. FBI Director Christopher Wray had discovered that on July 6, Crooks had made a search about how far was Oswald away from Kennedy, referencing the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and that he had registered for Trump's rally on that date. The FBI had also discovered that 2 hours before the assassination attempt, Crooks flew a drone near the rally. On July 25, the FBI said it wanted to interview Trump, as a crime victim, to obtain his victim statement. FBI's Office of Public Affairs released a statement on July 27 saying what struck former President Trump in the ear was a bullet, whether whole or fragmented into smaller pieces, fired from the deceased subject's rifle. An analysis from the New York Times of the events, including bullet trajectories and other information, concluded that the first bullet fired by Crooks grazed Trump's ear. During a Senate hearing, Secret Service Director Rowe was unable to answer how Crooks got his rifle onto the rooftop of the AGR International Warehouse in Butler. The BBC described it as a remaining mystery of the ongoing investigation. The Secret Service security detail responsible for protecting the former president during the rally faced criticism for not securing access to the roof of the building from which Crooks committed the shooting. 3 police snipers were present in the building, but none were present on the roof or able to cover it. Local law enforcement sources interviewed by BeaverCountyN.com said this was due to extremely poor planning and manpower shortages. Both Democratic and Republican lawmakers expressed concerns about what they perceived as errors or oversights that exposed Trump to gunfire. The Secret Service stated that it added protective resources to accommodate campaign travel schedules, disputing claims that it did not provide requested extra protection for Trump. Director of the Secret Service Kimberly Cheadle admitted that the lapse was unacceptable. In a reversal, the Secret Service later acknowledged denying requests from the Trump campaign for additional security for the past 2 years. The requests included additional snipers and special teams for outdoor events. Several prominent politicians and officials, mostly Republican, argued that DEI hiring by the Biden administration had compromised Secret Service training. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle and female agents serving in Trump's security detail faced scrutiny, especially after the release of video showing one of the agents struggling to holster her weapon, and crouching behind Trump. Trump defended the female Secret Service agent against the backlash and commended her bravery. President Biden ordered an independent review on the federal security provided by the Secret Service in order to comprehend how the gunman nearly assassinated Trump with a clear view of sight. The findings of this review will be made public. Additionally, Biden instructed the Secret Service to reassess all security protocols for the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, where Trump was expected to be officially nominated as the Republican candidate for the presidential election on November 5. Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was approved to receive Secret Service protection 2 days after the assassination attempt against Trump. Kennedy had previously sought protection from the Secret Service but was denied by Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Kennedy had instead been relying on a private security firm for the duration of his presidential campaign. On July 22, Cheadle testified before the United States House Committee on Oversight and Accountability. The New York Times reported that she failed to answer basic questions about the assassination attempt. Lawmakers from both parties called for her resignation. On July 23, Cheadle's resignation was announced. According to the New York Times, the law enforcement agencies that assisted the Secret Service the day of the shooting were the Pennsylvania State Police, the Butler Township Police Department, the Butler County Sheriff, Pittsburgh Bureau of Police, and multi-county tactical teams. The Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner testified that officers at the event were busy responding to over 100 heat-related emergencies, and handling multiple reports of suspicious individuals at the rally, which was not considered unusual. Photographer Evan Vucci of the Associated Press captured widely praised images of a bloodied Trump pumping his fist in the air, surrounded by Secret Service members, with an American flag in the background. The photos quickly spread on social media and television and were widely circulated by Trump's allies, including the National Republican Senatorial Committee, family members, and Republican members of Congress. The images were seen as encapsulating strength, resilience, patriotism, Donald Trump himself, the United States, as well as the ongoing culture war in the country. Also widely reproduced and discussed was an image by New York Times photographer Doug Mills apparently showing a bullet passing Trump. The incident was the most serious attempt to kill a U.S. president or presidential candidate since Ronald Reagan was shot in 1981. Political scientists, historians, and many Democratic and Republican political figures pointed to the shooting as a consequence of political polarization in the United States. The shooting led to widespread sympathy for Trump on social media, and public figures across the political spectrum both domestically and internationally urged a decrease in tensions, condemning the assassination attempt. Soon after being confirmed as safe, Trump released a statement on his own social media platform Truth Social. "I want to thank the United States Secret Service, and all of law enforcement, for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong in that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America." Donald Trump. U.S. President Joe Biden commenting on the assassination attempt, July 13. On July 14, Biden gave an address condemning political violence, including the attempted assassination of Trump, arguing for the need to lower the temperature in American politics. Statement from President Joe Biden. "I have been briefed on the shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him and his family and for all those who were at the rally, as we await further information. Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it." Joe Biden, the White House, July 13, 2024. After the shooting, President Joe Biden said, "Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons we have to unite this country. Everybody must condemn it." In a separate statement, he said he was grateful that Trump was safe. Biden also publicly expressed his condolences for Comparator, hailing his actions as a father. Biden and Trump spoke on the evening of the incident. On July 14, Biden ordered an independent security review of Trump's rally and warned against political violence in an Oval Office address. House Speaker Mike Johnson pledged to open an investigation into the shooting, seeking testimony from federal law enforcement and national security officials. Senate Republicans urged the Democratic-controlled Senate to conduct hearings as well. Republican U.S. Representative Mike Collins argued that Biden sent the orders on Twitter, referencing a quote from Biden saying it's time to put Trump in a bullseye. Republican Senator J.D. Vance, later chosen as Trump's running mate, blamed the Biden campaign's political rhetoric, while Republican Senator Tim Scott blamed messaging by the radical left and corporate media. Republican House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, who was seriously injured in the congressional baseball shooting, said that Democratic leaders had been fueling ludicrous hysteria about Trump and called for the incendiary rhetoric to stop. Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene criticized Democratic Representative Benny Thompson for having introduced a bill that would strip Secret Service protection from convicted felons, including Trump. Jacqueline Marsaw, a member of Thompson's staff, was fired after a social media post that read, "I don't condone violence, but please get you some shooting lessons so you don't miss next time. Oops, that wasn't me saying that." Stephen Woodrow, a Democratic member of the Colorado House of Representatives, posted on Twitter in response to the assassination attempt, "The last thing America needed was sympathy for the devil, but here we are." His post was widely criticized, including by the Colorado Democratic Party. Woodrow deleted his account about 3 hours after his post. Afterward, he told the Washington Examiner that he condemned the shooting on the strongest terms. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro denounced political violence and ordered flags to be lowered to half-staff in honor of Comparator, who was killed. Colorado Governor Jared Polis called for Biden to extend Secret Service protection to independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Requests for protection by the Secret Service of independent presidential candidates are considered on an as-needed basis. Biden directed the Secret Service to do so on July 15. Former President George W. Bush called the shooting cowardly and applauded the Secret Service's response. Former Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who was Trump's opponent in the 2016 presidential election, also condemned the attack and wished Trump a swift recovery. Mike Pence, who served as Vice President of the United States under Trump, 2017 to 2021, and launched a rival bid to Trump in the 2024 Republican presidential primaries, released a statement saying, "Karen and I thank God that President Trump is safe and recovering following yesterday's attempted assassination," praising the Secret Service for their quick response, which Pence opined undoubtedly saved lives, adding there is no place in America for political violence and it must be universally condemned. The Carter Center, founded by former President Jimmy Carter, condemned the attack and called for Americans to embrace civility. John Hinckley Jr., who attempted to assassinate President Ronald Reagan in 1981, said violence is not the way to go. Mark Webb, a bishop of the Global Methodist Church, the Christian denomination in which Corey Comparator held church membership, stated that the assassination attempt was a senseless act of violence and hatred and implored all to comfort those who mourn and boldly offer the promise of resurrection and new life through Jesus Christ. The National Council of Churches condemned the assassination attempt, along with toxic polarization, hate rhetoric, and the demonization and denigration of those who hold different opinions. Archbishop Timothy Broglio, President of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, issued a statement condemning the shooting as political violence, emphasizing that it is never a solution to political disagreements. Many heads of state and of government, as well as of international organizations, condemned the shooting and expressed good wishes to Trump. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada issued a statement on social media that he was sickened by the attack, adding, "My thoughts are with former President Trump, those at the event, and all Americans." Trudeau spoke to Trump on the phone after the attack. In the United Kingdom, Prime Minister Keir Starmer led condemnation of the shooting, saying that he was appalled by the attack on Trump, stating that political violence had no place in our society. Buckingham Palace confirmed on July 15 that King Charles III had written to Trump after the assassination attempt. First Minister of Scotland John Swinney also condemned the incident. On July 14, the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas sent a letter to Trump, which the latter posted on his social media site. Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India strongly condemned the incident, stating that violence has no place in politics and democracies and wished Trump a speedy recovery. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese of Australia condemned the shooting, saying there was no place for violence in the democratic process, and added that he was relieved to hear Trump was safe. Prime Minister Christopher Luxon of New Zealand said he was shocked to hear of what had occurred, adding that no country should encounter such political violence. Chancellor Olaf Scholz of Germany condemned the shooting as an attack on democracy, describing the attack on Trump as despicable and wishing the former president a quick recovery. Other European leaders to condemn the shooting included Viktor Orban of Hungary, Simon Harris of Ireland, Giorgia Meloni of Italy, Luc Frieden of Luxembourg, and Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey held a telephone conversation with Trump and praised his bravery. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel released a video condemning the shooting and said it was an attack on democratic institutions everywhere. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg expressed shock at the shooting, condemning the attack on Trump, and wishing the former president a speedy recovery. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, was confirmed by a UN spokesperson to have unequivocally condemned the attack, describing it as an act of political violence. The President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen issued a statement saying that she was deeply shocked by the events at the rally, and offered condolences to the family of the deceased audience member, Corey Comparator. Dmitry Peskov, the press secretary of Russian President Vladimir Putin, condemned the event, adding that the shooting took place in an atmosphere created by Biden's leadership, in the context of what he argued to be attempts to remove Trump from the political arena. Cuba blamed the U.S. arms industry and increased political violence in America. Georgian Prime Minister Irakli Kobakic and other Georgian government officials blamed the attack on the Global War Party, a recurring conspiracy theory of the Georgian Dream Party alleging a mysterious international organization that exerts influence on the Western world from the shadows. The event garnered much commentary by internet users. There was much activity on Twitter. Tweets about the event gained millions of views in the first hour. Trump was the top trending topic, with over 228,000 posts. One live stream had hundreds of thousands of people in its audience. Posts, pictures, and videos related to the event not only were seen from accounts users were following, but also appeared prominently in users' algorithmic For You feeds. While much larger audiences posted on Twitter, the event was also discussed on 4chan, TikTok, Reddit, and Meta-owned Instagram and Threads. Similar bursts of activity happened on pro-Trump website Patriots.win and Telegram, on the latter of which some far-right groups carried out a pattern of mass deletion of posts, in case it was one of their own. Topics of discourse, on both the left and right wings, involved details of the security setup, who was to blame for the attack, what kind of weapon the shooter had used, and whether language used by politicians and the media had inflamed tensions and played a role in motivating the attack. The Atlantic described posters as trying to make their own order amid intense disorder. A very large number of claims made in the period immediately after the attack were unverified or conjectural, including multiple failed attempts at identifying the attacker. Many turned out to be false, while others were jokes or deliberate hoaxes. While some people on the internet, including left-wing users, right-wing users, and bots, suggested or claimed that the attack had been staged as a false flag, and the words Trump and staged were briefly the two highest trending topics in the period immediately after the attack, no evidence emerged to support that this was the case. Some false claims that gained significant circulation were derived from early media reports, superseded by later reports, including the claim that Trump was hit by a glass fragment flying at him from a teleprompter purportedly shattered by a bullet. The teleprompters were intact after the shooting. After the attack, Congressman Mike Collins, a Republican in Georgia, criticized a statement Biden had made earlier in the month during a conversation with other Democrats: "I have one job, and that's to beat Donald Trump. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye." Reuters said that many of Trump's supporters began laying blame on Democrats, seeking to flip the script on who has stoked America's heated political rhetoric as cases of political violence reach historic heights, including Texas Representative Keith Self, who argued that his language had incited violence. Biden later apologized for the remark, saying it was a mistake to use the word. "I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye, I meant focus on Trump. Focus on what he's doing." Misinformation, disinformation, and conspiracy theories about the assassination attempt also quickly spread on social media. MIT misinformation expert Adam Berinsky described the fast spread of such theories online as reflecting the extensive political division prevalent in the United States, and author Colin Dickey opined that the spread was due to the long love affair with conspiracy theories of all kinds in the country. BBC News disinformation and social media correspondent Mariana Spring said that the real change is how this kind of lingo is being widely used by the average social media users rather than being on the fringe, further noting that many of the most viral false posts came from left-leaning users who regularly share their anti-Trump views. The Associated Press described the two competing conspiracy theories that are being established online that the shooting was either staged by Trump or orchestrated by Biden as being one for each end of America's polarized political spectrum. Conspiracy theories gained popularity within minutes. The word staged became the second highest trending topic on Twitter, generating approximately 600 million views with the help of bot accounts. Left-wing users posted conspiracy theories of a false flag operation, dubbed Blue Anon, in reference to QAnon. False claims included that the shooting and blood on Trump were faked, that crisis actors were used, that the victim who died was a sacrifice to make the attempt look more realistic, that the shooting was intended to improve Trump's likelihood of winning the election, and, according to a Democratic strategist, that the shooting was staged by Republicans to improve Trump's image. The Washington Post journalist Taylor Lawrence wrote that as more Americans lose trust in mainstream institutions and turn to partisan commentators and influencers for information, experts say they are seeing a big uptick in the manufacture and spread of left-wing conspiracy theories, a sign that the communal warping of reality is no longer occurring primarily on the right. A poll by Morning Consult 2 days after the shooting implied 1 in 5 Americans believe the shooting was staged, including 1/3 of Biden voters. Right-wing conspiracy theories also circulated on social media. Antifa became a trending topic after posts on Twitter blamed the shooting on a prominent Antifa activist, while other posts claimed the perpetrator was Jewish or transgender. A photo of an unrelated transgender woman was claimed on social media to be of Crooks. CBS News wrote that users on Twitter alleged that Secret Service resources were diverted from Trump's rally, an unsubstantiated claim denied by a spokesperson and echoed by Elon Musk, as part of the baseless theory that the agency is part of a conspiracy to get rid of the former president. Many Trump supporters claimed the event was a deep state plot to prevent Trump's re-election. Marjorie Taylor Greene, based on Biden's bullseye comments, said that Democrats wanted this to happen, and U.S. Representative Mike Collins made the false claim that Biden sent the orders. According to the New York Times, the claim that Biden orchestrated the shooting was perhaps the most dominant conspiracy theory. The Institute for Strategic Dialogue described this as part of a massive online spread of false claims. Biden later apologized for the remark, saying it was a mistake to use the word. "I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye, I meant focus on Trump. Focus on what he's doing." In the days after the shooting, a conspiracy theory centered on the investment company BlackRock, and propagated by cryptocurrency promoters, as a continuation of previous conspiracy narratives involving this company. This was spurred by Crooks having appeared in a BlackRock advertisement in 2022, which was filmed at his high school. In less than a day, a tweet revealing Crooks' appearance in the advertisement video was viewed more than 17 million times. The video was then removed by the company. The conspiracy theory that some people had foreknowledge is based on the fact that on July 12, 2024, one day before the assassination attempt, the investment company Austin Private Wealth filed a report with the Securities and Exchange Commission indicating that it had shorted 12 million shares of Trump Media and Technology Group, ticker symbol DJT, thus betting that the stock would go down. 4 days later, the filing was amended to 1,200 shares, and the company apologized for its filing error. Several anti-Semitic conspiracy theories have also been reported. Thank you for watching this video.